Morning, Marta. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Thank you.
we can hear you.
All right, everybody, it's 9:30. We'll get started. So I wanted to first of all, make sure everybody understood the way that the grading works and that they understood their current grade. I sent out an email about this yesterday, so I'm not really going to go over it again here, but if anybody has any specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Does anybody have any questions about their grade at this point so far? Hello, anybody? Everybody's okay with their grade? Well, everybody's okay with the calculation of their grade, let's put it that way. I don't know if everybody's okay with their grade, but.
Yes, I'm okay with my grade.
All right. All right, so please. All right, fair enough. Then I won't go through the syllabus and everything. I did that in the email. Let's talk about what you're going to see on the final. So there's a final exam folder, and that's where you'll find the final. There's a, you know what? I'm going to actually remove that Dropbox because I've actually added a box at the end of the final for you to put your work in. It's a bit more. I find it a bit more more safe and secure that way.
So is that gonna be for extra credit like the past two tests, or is that just like mandatory?
No, it's not mandatory. It's for partial credit, really.
Okay.
So it's really completely up to you. So it's a chance you take. If you don't put work in there, then. But the thing is that if I allow people to use scratch paper, there's always a chance that somebody will look at, because you get to see what you got on the final, you get to see what was right, and people could then modify what they put on the scratch paper in order to get partial credit. And I don't want to allow people that opportunity. So I want the work done inside on a lock while you're doing the test.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
I did have a question about the grades.
Yes.
So
are you rolling?
Yes.
Yes.
So I was looking at this and it says my overall grade. Is that my current grade after so I'm looking down here and I'm saying
no, ignore the overall grade, Roland. That includes a 0 for the final.
Oh, I see. So that's total then. So that's my grade if I don't take the final.
Yeah, that's right.
It's too easy. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you want to know your current grade, look at your grade as of test 4. Right, that's your current grade.
Okay, so letter grade as of test 4. So if that's the grade I'm going to get if I don't do anything else in the class, basically.
No, I would not say that's true either. That's your current grade. And per what I wrote in the email, if you have an A in that, then you've got an A and you don't have to do anything more. If you've got a B, you've got a B. You don't have to do anything more, but you could take the final to get an A. If you've got a C or less, I'm expecting you'll take the final.
Absolutely. Because I'm looking at like also the calculations down at the bottom. It says points needed for a C is going to be 0, and then points needed for a B is
Oh,
0.
well, okay. Well, if you need 0 points for a C, then you already have a C in the class.
And then I also have points needed for points needed on the final to get a B. That's
Yeah.
also a 0.
Oh, well, okay. Then you've already got a B in the class.
I see.
Right.
I just
Okay.
want to make sure that like that would be my final grade if I don't do anything else.
It would, yeah, based on those calculations, absolutely, yes.
And that accounts for every single thing that's in the class, correct?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
That's true. But based on all of that, your letter grade as of test 4 should be at least a B. Roland.
Yes.
All right. Okay. In that case, then it doesn't matter what you do. If you've got a letter grade of B or A, then there's no way you're going to have less than that.
All right. I just wanted to confirm that and make sure because I'm trying to plan out my week.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. So you all know per the email again that the final is at 10 a.m. on Monday. And you'll have you can start it between 10 and 11. I think it's 2.5 hours. I think I wrote that in the email. All right. Any other questions about that so far? Okay. Now there's a final study guide here as well. I want to direct you to. And here it is. The final will be 13 questions. When I say that, it's 13 question groups, because sometimes, there's groupings of questions. You would have noticed those on the tests. So the questions are broken up as follows. Test 1 and 2, these are what you should study. Modules, sample modules 1 to 6 test, questions 13 through 34. And sample module 7 to 12 test, questions 1 through 16. So the questions will be selected from those specific questions. If you can do those questions, then you're good. I'm going to take 2 questions from test 3 and 3 questions from test 4. It says 1 hour, 50 minutes. You're actually going to have more time than that. And you get the same reference sheets with the final as you got with the regular test. So the best way to study for the final is to go through those specific questions in tests 1 and 2, which is still available. And then the ungraded copy of tests 3 and 4, I would go through those. Now, what I want you to realize about the final is the whole point of it is a chance for redemption. So if there's an area or something that you didn't do so well on, that's what you need to work on. If you did well on something, chances are you won't have to review it very much. But if there's something that you didn't do well on, chances are you need to review it a bit more. And that's kind of the point. Does anybody have any questions?
So the final's only 13 questions?
Not really, no. It's 13 question groups. So
what do you mean by that?
Okay, let me clarify that for you. So let me open up the ungraded copy of test 4, for example. Actually, I'll do test 3. I'll make it the ungraded copy of test 3. This one here. Do you see how it says delta H from bond energies and heats of formation? That's a question group. Hess law, that's a question group. Board transitions, that's a question group. Quantum numbers, that's a question group. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you'll need to expect. So when I say I'm going to pick, well, what I'll do is I'll make that a bit more clear now. I'll even edit that. Hang on. I need to get out of here. So exit out of here. Let me figure out what's going on. No, let's just submit it. Now I can exit the preview. I don't know why I had to do that, but anyway, let's go back to the. In fact, I will edit that 13 question groups just to really clarify that. Practice test. Is that all clear? Does anybody have any questions about that?
No, makes sense.
Does anybody have any questions at all about anything?
I have a question about a problem on test 3.
Okay. I'll go to the practice test here.
It's the second question. I know how to get like to the answer, but sometimes you multiply it by 2. And I don't know when you do that. Because like sometimes for this problem, I can find the final answer and it will be wrong. And then, but if I multiply it by 2, it will be right. It will be the correct answer.
We're talking about question two
Yeah.
here? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go through that. I'll show you I'll show you how you can know. So what you want to do is you want to look at, well, I'll do it very generally here. You look at the formula CXHY, and it should be pretty obvious how many hydrogens there are by looking at the problem. But here's the story. If Y divided by 2 is even, you won't multiply by 2. Now, if Y over 2 is odd, you will multiply by 2. So an example would be, let's say Y is equal to 12, then Y over 2 equals 6, and you wouldn't multiply by 2. But if Y equals 10, then Y divided by 2 is 5, and you will multiply by 2. Is that clear?
Yeah, that makes sense. I just couldn't figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you'll see that because what will happen is when you're balancing it, I'll give you an example here. Let's say it is, say, C5H10 plus O2 gives CO2 plus H2O. Oops. Five. And then when it comes to the oxygens, you'll see it goes 10, 15, and you have to do 15 divided by 2. So that's why you have to multiply all that by 2. And that's to get rid of that 15 over 2 and turn it into 15. That's how it's always going to be, but it's really easy to tell from the outset whether you're going to have to do that or not.
So if the O2 has a fraction to it, you'd multiply the entire thing by 2?
You have to, because
Yes.
you need whole numbers as your coefficients.
Okay, thank you.
That's the main point. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions?
You go over a few questions in test 1, just kind of as review. We haven't gone over that stuff in a while.
Actually, I know what the problem is here. My exit button is probably hidden. No, whatever. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of strange. All right. I shouldn't have to submit this, but. Now remember, it's only 13, questions 13 through 34 that are going to be picked out. Now what you'll find with those, a lot of them, they're the same kind of question. They're naming questions.
Actually, can you go over like the heat problems inside of test 1?
Heat problem.
Yeah, like the last like 2 or 3, whatever they are.
Okay, I'll take a look. So this is the sample module 1 to 6 test. Let's see. Yeah, that's this is what it's based on. Let me take a look. Oh, I think what you might be talking about. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. It's these guys here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is it just you and me, Richard? I think everybody left. No? Okay, that's good. I thought it was. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm still here.
You're still here. I said that's okay. All right. No, we've still got 12 people. All right, fair enough. Okay, let me just put a little summary up here. So that's hydrates. And these are decomposition reactions, by the way, that we're talking about. Now this isn't balanced, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it gives you an idea of what you're expecting. So this is the base knowledge that you need. Is that if it's a hydroxide, it'll split into an oxide and water, and if it's a carbonate, it'll split into an oxide and CO2. So this one here, this is a carbonate. So any three of these three are possible. So you need to be prepared for all of them. But let's look at this one. This is XCO3. And we know it's going to split into X and O plus CO2. Now we need to charge on X, and what I would want you to see here is since CO3 has a -2 charge, the X has a 2+ charge, and we know that O has a -2 charge. And that would be it. And the sum of coefficients for that would just be 3, 1, 2, 3. So that one's fairly simple. Does anybody have any questions?
You got 3 from where again?
3?
Down.
1. The coefficients we got. Well, they're not written, but there's 1, 1, 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3.
Okay.
I'm going to do all of these. I might even do more if you want, you know. This one here, what's the metal oxide formed from this reaction? So we're just looking for the formula of the XO part. Now this is X2CO3, 3. We know it's going to be XO, but we don't know the charge on anything yet, plus CO2 again. Now O is -2, but we need to charge on X. Now, in order to get that, I'll probably have to draw a picture. Now, the CO3 has a -2 charge. So the total negative charge is -6, and total positive charge is +6, which makes each of these 3+. So that's the way you do it. So that'd be 3+ up here. So once we've got that, now we don't have to actually balance this or anything because all we're interested in is the formula of the oxide, which is clear from the answers as well. So that would be the answer, would be X2O3. And what we're looking at there is the combination of these that would allow it to balance out. So we need 2 X's and 3 O's, +6, -6, in order to make that work. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, what's the metal oxide from this reaction? This one is a hydroxide. So we've got XOH6, and again, it's going to be XO plus, in this case now, water as the product. Now the O is -2, the X, well, each OH is -1, there's 6 of those, so X is 6+. That means that the formula is going to be XO3 for the oxide. That's what you would, that's the one you'd pick. Does anybody have any questions? So Richard, you were the one who asked about this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the O always has just a -2, and then the X, where did you get that +6 from?
Well, I'll draw a picture out of it. You know what the charge on the OH is, because you've got the polyatomic ion sheet in front of you when you're taking a test, right?
Okay.
All right, does anybody have any questions? Any other questions about that? Do you want me to re-roll and do some more, Richard?
Yeah.
After you're done with this, can you go to the sample 2 quiz and we can look at some of those questions too?
Okay, I'll do this one more time, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't mind going over these because these were not very well done on the test when it was actually done. I noticed a number of people got these wrong. Okay. So this one is a hydrate, and you can tell that because it's got the dot something H2O. It's very simple though, if it's a hydrate. It just turns into X plus 2H2O. So the sum of coefficients would be 4. It'd be 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. Is that okay? Does anybody have any questions?
So it would only be 4. You wouldn't do 6 because 1, 2, and then
No,
1.
no, because this is one compound
Okay.
and it has a coefficient of 1. It's a hydrate. All right, next one, XCO3 2. We know it's going to be XO and CO2 again. So the O is -2 and the X this time is -2, -2 is +4. So we do that again. That'd be XO2 to balance it, and plus CO2, and then I need to balance the whole thing. And let's see, I need a 2 in front of the CO2 to balance the C's, and you can see it'd be 2 plus 4 is 6, so that does balance. So the total there would be 4 as well. Anybody have any questions about that one? Oh, actually, for this one, I'm sorry, we just need so we didn't even need to balance it. We just needed the XO2. I was just looking for the metal oxide. XOH5, XO, in this case, it's going to be water. Now, -2, the X is 5 plus, X2O5 is the formula of the oxide. Does anybody have any questions about that one? So Richard, do you see where I got the 5 plus that time? On the
Yeah,
X? Okay.
because OH is -1, so then X has to have +5 on
That's
it.
right. Yeah. X could be anything from 1 to 6 in any of these. Okay. X could be anything from 1 to 6. But you'll always know, either because you know what the charge on CO3 is, or you know what the charge on OH is, either way.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions about these? Okay. Who was asking me about sample test 2?
That was me. I just wanted to, I just wanted to look at the questions that you said are going to be on the test and see if I
okay.
have like any questions about it without having to open up the test myself, you know?
Okay, but you know you can because it's available, right?
Yeah, I know I can, but if I open it, I'm gonna have to like submit it, right?
But you don't have to, well, you don't have to complete it. You can just, you just go down the bottom and submit it empty if you want to.
Okay.
It's not really going to do you any harm. That's what I'm saying. You can look at it as much or as little as you like. The wonderful thing about it, I think, is that you can just do one question and see if you got it right.
Mm-hmm. So it's not for a grade at all then? I thought
No.
it was like for extra. Oh, okay. I thought it was like.
No.
I thought it was for
There
some sort of
wasn't.
grade.
There was an extra credit associated with it when it was offered as an actual test.
Oh, okay, so now these are just sort of like the practice tests.
They're just practice. Yeah.
Okay, because I remember like seeing like that on the grades and then seeing a 0 by it. So like I thought it was like an actual grade we had to do sometimes.
No,
Okay.
it was just extra credit.
Okay.
All right, so this is it. Now I said 1 through 16, but I guess that's the entire thing really.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just give you a rundown of it. We've got the first 4 questions are from module 7. Then question 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 are from module 8, empirical formulas. Questions 9 through 12 are from module 9. Question 13, 14 are from module 10. Question 15, 16, 17 are from module 11, and questions 18, 19 and 20 are from module 12. Is there any, go on.
For this test, are they going to be like grouped up with their modules, or are they going to be
No, they'll be separate. They'll be separate questions. The groupings is more from tests 3 and 4, because those are actually highlighted as discrete groups. Whereas here, I haven't really done that. But what I can tell you is that 50% of the test will be, well, actually 50% of the test is from tests 1 and 2. I don't really know the distribution exactly there. That's all I know is that 50% is from tests 1 and 2, but the questions are going to be kind of random from 13 to 34 of test 1 and 1 to 16 of test 2.
No, yeah, I meant for like 3 and 4. If you have like one group, are they going to be together, or are like the questions going to be separate?
No, they would be, the groupings would be together.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be pretty much set up the same way as it is on the practice tests, along with all the reference sheets and everything right there for you. All right, does anybody have any Chloe, did you have anything specific? You can ask me anything you want about this test.
Sorry. So wait, did you just say practice test? Like a practice final test, or did I misinterpret what you said?
No. I mean like practice tests 3 and 4.
Oh, okay. I thought for a second you were implying there was a practice final.
No,
and I was like, I cannot find that anywhere.
No, there isn't. There isn't a practice final, because the final is made up of everything you see on the practice tests.
Okay, that makes sense then. Okay. Yeah, I guess I never wrote it down, or I never found the proper video for it, but I still don't know like how to, like, the velocity of atoms. Is it just like going up and across the periodic table, and I just missed it because I couldn't, like, I kept getting those questions wrong, but I couldn't, like, is it literally just going like up and across like electronegativity or something? And
No. Velocity, the velocity is based on the mass. The bigger it is, the slower it is.
Okay.
So all you need to do is figure out what the molar mass is of each one.
Okay, well then I definitely must have missed that. Because
Okay.
yeah, I just kept getting those wrong, and I like
It's
couldn't really
on page 1 of the module 11 soft chalk, or the module 11 in the survival guide.
Okay. Okay, well then I'll look at that. Thank you. But
Okay.
besides that, I don't. I think I did. I like understood a lot of the stuff on this test. I just got like a lot of points marked off because of like the computer like was like, oh, I guess less the computer and more of like I didn't really understand sig fig still at the time, so I accidentally kept putting in like the wrong sig fig numbers, or like I would forget to put like moles of oxygen and I just put moles and then it marked me off for that point and stuff like that.
Well,
so like
you know, you can always email, you know, in those situations, you can always email me. I'll make a judgment. Because sometimes it's not really necessary to have the compound. You can sort of get away with not having it, but I always say to put it in anyway. But if you get marked off, you don't think it's fair, just email me. I'll look at it, definitely. Sometimes it matters and sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, I always wanted you to put it in anyway because I think it's more complete to do that. But in module 7, for example, in a lot of those, since it's only talking about one compound, there's really no need, I guess. But it will mark you off if you don't put it in. But I can always go and fix it if you don't.
okay.
But you have to tell me because I don't go look.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Okay, so would I be able to like if I saw something like that happen like on the final, would I be able to be like, hey, I think this was unfair. Can you take a look at it? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I make that clear in the syllabus too, Chloe. That anytime you have an issue with something that's graded like that, you can always email me. I'll always look. Sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you won't.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind then. Thanks.
All right. That goes for any of you, obviously. All right. Does
What are you
anybody
talking about? I thought that was special just for me. What are you saying?
I can't say that, Chloe. There's too many people listening.
Oh yeah, so I'm supposed to keep it a secret. Never mind.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry. You sound really far away.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better, David. What's
All
going
right.
on?
So for the grade book, I'm a little bit confused. It looks like how the grade book works right now is that it displays your current grade as of test 4 based on your lowest module test grade, like your lowest test complete. Is that how that works?
That's how it works. You're
So
exactly
that's
right.
is that your actual grade? Is that just what it is, or is that what it's showing so that you need to do the final? How does it work?
Well, okay. Per the syllabus, if you have an A as of test 4, then you have an A in the class. If you have a B as of test 4, you have a B in the class, but you can take the final to try and get an A.
Okay. All right.
If it's C or less, you have to take the final.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So for me, it's a D, which I was confused about because I had D's and I had a D on one test grade. So I was wondering.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's based on your lowest grade. But then down the bottom, it shows you exactly what you need on the final to get the grade you want.
Right. Yeah. I looked at that, and that's what made me so confused. So I was like, "Oh shit, I'm messing up. I have a D in the class." And then I look at that, and it says I need to get like a 30 on the final to get a C.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's how it works. But you see, that's the thing. If you do poorly on one test, then if you've done well on the others, that makes it so you need less on the final.
okay. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. That was a little bit confusing.
Yeah. Now, the philosophy behind all of that is that I believe in order to get an A without taking the final, you need to have gotten an A on everything. If you get a B without taking the final, you need to get a B on everything. If you've gotten less than a C or a B on, if you've got a C or less on anything, then you definitely need to take the final. The final is all about redemption. It's a chance to show that you do know what you're doing.
Yeah, all right, I get it. I just want to clear that up. And also for the on the test when you enter like your scratch paper, any extra work, do you check that like as you grade the test, or I need to like send you an email?
You need to send me an email, David.
All right, I'll send you an email about that.
Yeah. You tell me which questions you want me to look at specifically, and I'll look at them.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I don't mind doing that.
I have a question.
Yes, Haley.
So, On the last test we took,
Mm-hmm.
you said that you were only going to look at them only if we basically asked you to,
That's right.
like for like putting in the work and everything.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. All
You
right.
can
that
still
was
do
it.
you can still do that, Haley. I'll look
Okay.
at I'll look at
Thank
it. I'll look at it.
Thank you.
All right. I want you to see it from my point of view here. Sometimes people want me to look at their work, sometimes they don't. But I definitely will if you ask me to. No question.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
No, I think I'm good.
All right.
I,
What
I
about
just like
what about everybody whose name isn't Chloe?
I'm good as well.
All right, everybody's clear about what they need to do.
And so you have like no idea what the questions from test 3 and 4 that are going to be on the final is, or like do you know and like you're just not going to tell us because
That's right, Chloe.
like we're not allowed to know.
Well, you will know when you take the final.
Yeah, when I take the final.
Well, come on.
Wow.
If I was going to tell you, I would have put it in the guide.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
Also-
The whole point is that I want you to look at everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
For the questions that are on from test 3 and test 4, is it only going to be like 2 questions from test 3, or is it going to be like 2
groups.
sections?
Question
Okay.
groups. Richard?
Okay.
Because
Question groups.
when I saw that there was only 13 questions.
Yeah, but I did just edit that
Yeah.
a little bit ago, but I changed it to just to clarify it. It's question groups. So let me see. I'll just open that test 3 up just to. So here you've got delta H from bond energies heats of formation. That's a question group. Hess law. That's a question group. Bohr transitions 4, 5, and 6. That's a question group. Right?
Can you actually go over these?
Anything you want, just tell me what you want to go,
Yeah,
want me to
this
go over.
quantum number section.
Quantum numbers? Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I know how to do it.
Okay. That's what we're here for today. Now let me put just a little bit of a summary here for the quantum numbers. So N is the principal quantum number. It's like the main energy level. Then we've got L, which can be 0, 1, all the way up to N minus 1. And for L, it's a code S equals 0, P equals 1, D equals 2, F equals 3. And then you've got M sub L, which can go from negative L all the way to plus L. And then we've got M sub S, which can be plus a half or minus a half. And that's it. So you'll notice that M sub L is based on L is based on N, and N is 1, 2, 3, etc.
Oh, for like this question 7, it would be invalid because N is -2.
Yeah, immediately it's invalid, and the answer would be set as invalid, N is out of range. Is that clear?
You
Yeah.
said that L is out of range. Would you get the question wrong?
Yeah, because the thing is that you always do it in order. So it's the first.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's just the first thing you find out of order. You see, that's the thing. If the first one's out of order, it's already invalid from the outset. So the value of 3 wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, it's out of range as well, but then again, so's M sub L effectively.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first thing, all right, because they always go in order of importance. All right, what
yeah,
about,
because like if you put M sub L, seeing like that's the thing that's invalid, but L's the first thing that's invalid, you're kind of implying that L is valid and the M
yeah,
sub L is the first thing that's valid.
right, that's kind of right. So I would just do it in order, whatever's invalid first, right? Okay, what about 8? What do you think about that one?
This one would be valid, correct?
No. No, it wouldn't be, because you got n equals 5, that's okay. Now,
Yeah.
L can be 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And it's 1, so L's valid. But M sub L has to be between -1 and 1. You see, it's based on L.
Okay, because when I was looking at a video on this, it said that it could be anything within the n range, so it could be like 5 to -5.
No,
And I
wouldn't
didn't
have
know if
said,
that was
I would
true or
not
not.
have, I would never have said that about M sub L. M
No,
sub
it
L,
wasn't one of your videos. It was on YouTube from
Well,
someone else.
well, they were idiots. Oh, sorry, they were wrong. Sorry. As long as it wasn't my video, I can say, yeah, they were
Yeah.
wrong. All
Okay,
right.
so M sub L can only be between -1 and 1.
That's right. -1 and
Okay.
+1. To emulate that, see, looking at what I've got here, if you've got 5, L equals 1, that would be P, right? If it's a P orbital, there's only going to be 3 orbitals, and they would be numbered -1, 0, and 1. And they're your M sub L values. See, that's N, that's L, the P, and then the M sub L covers what you're seeing in the orbitals. Is that clear?
Yes.
So what that means here is that, yeah, it's M sub L that's out of range. That's why it's invalid.
But like, say for example, L equaled 4, then M sub L would be like -4 to +4, right? For
If
the
L was
ranges?
4, yes, that's right.
Okay.
Chloe.
All right, just making sure I remembered everything right. Okay.
Now, yeah, I mean, it could be, L could be 4 in that instance because N is 5.
Okay, that might have been what they were talking about. Because when you said 1 and -1, I thought that it only could be between those two ranges. But it's based off of L. So if L's 4, it would be M sub L could be between -4 and 4.
That's right.
Okay, and then M sub S always has to be -1/2 or 1/2.
That's right. Positive or
Okay.
-1/2. That's right. Is that right?
Yeah.
So the next one, N equals 3, L equals 5, M sub L equals 2, M sub S is -1/2. So N equals 3 is okay. What about L? Is that all right?
No.
No, because L can only be 0, 1, and 2. That's it. So L's out of range. We're at number 10. N equals 5, that's okay. L equals 2, that's okay. M sub L is -1, is that okay?
Yes.
Yes. And M sub S is -1/2. So this one would be valid.
Okay.
The sign on M sub L, like say it's -1, does it have to be a minus for the M sub S, or can it be?
No, that can be anything. See, the M sub S doesn't depend on anything. It can only ever be plus or minus 1/2. Now, the M sub S is representative of whether the arrow is pointing up or pointing down. So that would be +1/2, and this one's -1/2.
Okay.
But I mean, this is kind of cool what I've done here, because it shows you where all the quantum numbers come into play, and it's just that they have certain boundaries due to what they are really. So, Richard, was it you who was asking about these, or David? I can't remember. One of you
It
did.
was me.
Okay. So, are you okay with the quantum numbers here?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other questions about it?
No, it makes sense. Basically, whatever n is, is one number less than that,
Up to one number less than that
Yeah.
from 0. Yes, that's right.
and then m sub l can be positive or negative of l.
No, negative L through positive L.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it could be any of those numbers in that range.
that's right.
And then m sub s is either -1/2 or +1/2.
Yeah, and the only other detail you need to be aware of there is the codes for L. Well, actually, you don't even really need to be aware of that for this kind of question. I think it's good to know that S is 0, P is 1, D is 2, F is 3, because that can help you remember what you're expecting M sub L to be. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So for the final study guide, this part confuses me a little bit. It says for test 3, it's 20%, and test 4, it's 30%. And for test 3, 2 questions taken from test 3, parentheses, different quantities / compounds. What do you mean by that?
Well, let me clarify that. So when I say questions, I actually mean question groups, right? So,
Yeah.
for example, I could take this board transitions question group, which would consist of questions 4, 5, and 6, and as you get all this information, you would get the same information on the final if this question group were to appear. And these numbers here, for example, in question 4, 13 to 2, that could change. It could be 10 to 5 or whatever.
So basically, you're kind of picking 2 random question groups from this test and sticking it in the final. This is and 3 for test 4.
That's
Okay.
exactly right. Yeah, but
So-
the numbers will be different. But
Okay.
obviously, what I want you to do is practice.
Yeah, you want us
tests.
to stud test 3 and test 4 the whole thing, and then for test 1 and test 2, we look at the problems that you've laid out for us in there.
Yeah.
All right, I got it.
Yeah. But that's the thing. If for anybody who's willing to put the time in, they can do very well on the final. And that's all it is. It's a matter of
That's this
time.
whole class. That's this whole class.
Yeah, you put the time in, and you'll be fine. I sleep like a baby. I do. When it comes to this class, I sleep like a baby. I don't worry about it at all because I know it's transparent.
While we're here, can you do one of the board transitions problems?
Sure. Which do you want me to just to do? I can do all of them if you want to, Kendall.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, we're looking for frequency here on this. Now you'll need to. You've got the equations up here. Okay. So you need frequency. Frequency is this little new business here. And in order to get nu, you'll need E. And to get E, you'll use this equation up here, which is given to you. All right, so let's do this one here. So E is equal to 2.179 times 10 to the negative 18. And that's times 1 over N1. Now, N1 is going to be 2, and N2 is going to be 13. Now, the reason I do that is because I want my energy to come out to be a positive value. And if I put the bigger number down here, when I say bigger, 1/4 is going to be bigger than 1 over 13 squared. Then that's going to allow me to get a positive value here. And that's joules, by the way. It says it there, joules. So this is going to come out to be joules. Let's see what that would be. And I get 5.318 times 10 to the negative 19. Or E negative 19, doesn't really matter how you, well, so it's in a test you'd express it. Actually, you wouldn't express it like that because it wouldn't matter. Because you're after terahertz at the end here anyway, so we don't need to worry about that so much. So E equals H nu, and it means that nu is equal to E divided by H. Now we have the E value over here, 5.318 times 10 to the negative 19 joules over H, Planck's constant, 6.626 times 10 to the negative 34 joule seconds. And I get 8.027 times 10 to the 14. Now that's hertz or seconds to the -1, which is the same thing. Now we need terahertz, and I've got a conversion here for terahertz. So you would multiply that by 1 THz over 1 E12 hertz. And that gives us our value. And I get 802.7 terahertz. Does anybody have any questions about that one? Now I will do, well actually what I'll do, rather than doing the wavelength question, I'll take this one step further and get the wavelength in nanometers, because that's, but you have to go that far to get the nanometers. Now to get the nanometers, you do C equals nu lambda. Lambda is the wavelength, and that's going to be C divided by nu. Now C is the speed of light. And frequency is in hertz. That's the number we got up here, 8.027 times 10 to the 14 seconds to the -1. You see that cancels. That gives us meters. Uh, 3.734 times 10 to the -7 meters. We need it in nanometers, and it's going to be 1 nanometer times 1 nanometer over 1 times 10 to the -9 meters. I think I give you that conversion somewhere. There it is there. And that'd be 373.4 nanometers. So that would be the depth of any of these problems here. You see, one of them you're asked for frequency, one of them you're asked for wavelength, and the other one you're asked for energy. So energy is the first part. Frequency would be going as far as the frequency down here, and then wavelength, that you'd have to go down here to go this far. So I can't remember who asked me about that. Haley, was it you?
I did.
Oh, Kendall, I'm sorry. Did it answer your question, Kendall?
Yeah.
Okay. But you know, the key is practice. You know, you've got to practice them. Just practice them on the practice test, and get good at them. The other suggestion I have is don't just use the numbers, use the units. I mean, it's done on purpose that I ask for these different units like terahertz and nanometers. It's to make sure that you do indeed use the units. Otherwise, you'll get too confused. It's just a reality. It's got to be more than just memorizing what gets divided by what. All right, any other questions? Any other questions that anybody wants me to go through?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes, Haley.
So when I was trying to access like my last test 4, because I did really good on it, but I just wanted to see what problems I got wrong again. So how do you do that? Like access it again, or can I not look at it?
No, you can access it. You can access any test you've taken, Haley.
How do I do that?
Okay. I have a video about it, which I'll show you the link to the video.
Okay.
And again, I don't know why I can't find my exit preview button. It seems to have disappeared. All right, now I can do it. Let's have a look. Okay. And I'll show you where the video is, but I will also show you how to do it as well in a second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Reviewing graded quizzes. That's where you'll find the video. Okay. As a student, you go to submission review quizzes. So let's say you would want to look at this sample module 1 to 6 test. You click on submissions and then just the attempt, and there you go.
Okay, thank you.
If
Because
you're
I
having,
clicked on Dropbox.
oh, that won't be helpful. No.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's a quiz, so it'll be under quizzes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no worries. All right, anybody else have any questions? All right. Well, if anybody has anything over the next few days, give me a holler, send me an email, give me a phone call, whatever you want to do, and I'll talk to you all. I'll talk to you all later.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
David, do you need anything else?